What up, what up? Welcome on in to Inside Baylor Sports, the official daily podcast of Baylor Athletics. On today's show, we look ahead to a critical weekend in Baylor Athletics as baseball and softball are in action. In men's golf, they got selected into the NCAA Regional, making its 25th postseason appearance in the last 26 seasons. Don't forget, you can catch Inside Baylor Sports every weekday. You can also watch the video version for free over at BaylorPlus.com and on the Baylor Athletics YouTube channel. Like, subscribe, rate, and review the pod. And follow Baylor Plus today on X, Instagram, TikTok, and Facebook. It's the official content network of Baylor Athletics. Think Netflix for your Baylor Bears. Download the app on your mobile device and sign up for your free 7-day trial today at BaylorPlus.com. It's Friday, May 3rd, 2024. Justin Hoff alongside the Baylor Bear insider Jerry Hill. And Jerry, it's May 3rd. And there's a very, very, very important series out there for Baylor baseball. We'll start with them. This has postseason implications written all over it. And it's a series that features two rivals, Baylor versus TCU.
Yeah, I guess the nice thing, Justin, I mean, obviously you'd like to maybe have created separation by now. But when you look at these last three series that baseball has left, two of them are against teams that you're kind of competing for to get, one of those last spots. So in the Big 12 tournament. So I think in essence, you do have it in your hands. And that really wasn't the case last year. So I think that's a good thing. But yeah, they're playing TCU. Again, we've talked about it before, but this was a preseason top 10, top 20 team and just hasn't played up to that this year, but certainly they're capable. But this is a big series for Baylor. I mean, I think they need to win the series, Justin. I don't know, they don't need to sweep or anything, but if they can win the series against TCU and UCF, I think they have a great chance to get to the Big 12 tournament.
Yeah, let's break it down for you. We'll dig in a little bit more. And so Baylor, with their win during the midweek game, 20 wins, match their wins total from last season with 11 games to play in the regular season. So showing progress from year one to year two in Mitch Thompson's era. And this series just really important against TCU. We'll break down and look at the numbers. And it's because, 10 teams make the Big 12 tournament. There's 13 teams that play baseball in the Big 12 conference. Of course, a conference this year of 14, 16 next year. There'll be 14 baseball teams next year in the Big 12. But so 3 teams are going home. Houston, BYU, unlikely to make postseason play. And so it really comes down to those top 11 fighting for those 10 spots. So right now, UCF and Baylor are 9-12, tied for 9th. And then you have TCU at 10-14. The key there is the 14. TCU, they have 6 remaining games left in the Big 12 conference. Baylor and UCF each have 9. UCF does play Houston, so they have a good opportunity to get some wins there. And Jerry, as Jerry said, Baylor plays TCU, plays Oklahoma, on the road at Oklahoma, and then has UCF back at home. So you think about, you got to do more than just, you can't, even if you swept this weekend, you still got work to do, Jerry. That would put TCU in a very compromising position, as TCU's other series is against West Virginia. The positive for TCU, that's in Fort Worth. And so, West Virginia, not the same team on the road that they are at home, as we saw this past weekend. But it's really the loss column, Jerry. That's the critical spot. And also the fact, if you win the series, you get the tiebreaker on TCU.
Yeah, that's why it's so important this weekend that you do win the series. Because like you said, that puts you a leg up on them, in any kind of tiebreaker situation. The nice thing, I talked about, Baylor playing 2 of those last 3 series against teams they're kind of competing for. Well, both of those series are home. You mentioned they got to play Oklahoma on the road. That's a team leading the conference. But 6 of your last 9 conference games are all at home. So you need to take care of business at home. They didn't do that against Kansas, lost 2 of 3 to them. But this is where they need to finish strong. I like the way that they played against UTA the other night. I mean, that was important. Like you said, they're already at 20 wins, Justin. I mean, a year ago, they got to 20 wins and were excited about it just to get there. Now there's bigger goals, but you have gotten that 20th win already, or 20-23. sitting there with a chance to make the Big 12 tournament. But you're right. I mean, this is really big this weekend because if you lost this series, in essence, coming out of this weekend, you're probably the 11th team. So you need to win the series and get a leg up on TCU heading into these last couple series.
Yeah, if you're able to win the series, just doing some quick numbers, some quick math here, Jerry. 11-13. That would be Baylor's record if they're able to win the series, take 2 out of 3. TCU would then drop to 11-16. So you got 3 games right there. Essentially, you're not up 3, and you're up basically a game and a half there. But 3 games in the loss column with those 2 series left. So you build in some cushion, some margin for error, and you need that in baseball because it's a funny game and anybody can win on any given day. But yeah, this weekend really, and hey, never say never, but Baylor only 3 games back of 500 on the season. I mean, there's a chance for them to finish over 500 on the season. So that would be another step in the right direction for Mitch Thompson and crew. And this weekend, it gets all underway tonight, 6:30 at Baylor Ballpark, Saturday at 2, and Sunday at 1 o'clock against TCU. And take all the numbers away, though. Baylor baseball versus TCU baseball. That's always a fun series.
Yeah, it's always big. Like you said, this is Baylor TCU. This is the rivalry, if you will. And, particularly with Texas leaving, I think this is the rivalry for Baylor. Maybe already was, but, certainly, in a lot of sports, this is the rivalry. And, I think that in itself makes it a big weekend. A lot of promotions planned this weekend as well. So that'll be fun. But yeah, let's win 2 and kind of figure out where we are after that. But if you win this series, you put yourself in great position to make that Big 12 tournament coming up in Arlington.
Yeah, you speak of the promotions. You got Friday Night Fireworks. Who doesn't like a good fireworks show? Getting ready for 4th of July here in a couple months. Crazy, we can even say that. Bark in the Park and Cub Club Day. Don't say that 10 times fast. And then Cinco de Mayo on Sunday. So yeah, a lot going on there. Baylor baseball taking on TCU, really, really important series. And as we said, just 11 games left in the regular season, really trying to take that step forward and a step forward this season. And really one of the main goals for Baylor baseball was to make the Big 12 championship up there at Globe Life. So looking forward to that. As for Baylor softball, they'll finish out their regular season this weekend against Houston. Senior Day coming up on Sunday, the final series of the season for Baylor here at home and in the regular season. But Jerry, they have a chance to not only get 30 wins, but to finish over 500 in the Big 12. Both achievements that would be really good for this team based on where they were, 3-4 weeks ago.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking about, Justin. I mean, when you start out, I believe it was 1-8 in conference. Hard to imagine that you would be able to put yourself back in position to finish above 500. So they've been playing, good softball since then. And when you think about, they've gone through a lot of injuries, lost some players and this and that, but they've held together. I mean, here you are, you're going up, against Houston, and you got a chance to sweep them and really finish strong and kind of solidify yourself. Even maybe an outside shot to host, sitting there at 18th in RPI. So, I think they've put themselves in good position. But if they can sweep this weekend, they're in great position and would likely finish 4th in the league. They're probably going to be in that 4th, 5th place game for the Big 12 tournament. But yeah, it's huge. They've put themselves in this position, and now if they can just kind of finish the job and get above 500 in conference, and like you said, get to 30 wins, that's a big deal for this softball team.
And Jerry, you touched on it a little bit, but to reemphasize, this Baylor softball team has been hit hard with the injury bug all season long.
No, you're right. I mean, when you think about all the pieces that they had in place at the beginning of the year that just aren't there, losing Amber Tovin very early, Dariana Orm hasn't been able to pitch pretty much the whole year. But then even some of the losses, more lately, That it's amazing, Justin, that they've done what they've done, because they really are. You think about a man down. I guess in this case it would be a woman down, but they are several women down. And they've been able to survive, and they've won some big games. Sweeping that series at BYU was big, because that was a team you were kind of battling right there with, in terms of the standings and stuff, and you swept them on the road. So big deal. And it was good to come away with those 3 wins, and again, kind of pad your resume going into postseason.
And you look right now, as Jerry said, tied for 4th with Kansas at 11-13. Kansas, they play BYU this weekend. BYU a little bit lower in the rankings. That's home games for BYU, or home games for Kansas. BYU, they're at 8-16. So theoretically, there's a chance for Kansas and Baylor to both sweep this weekend. Kansas has a tiebreaker on Baylor, so Baylor might be a 5 seed in that case. But if Baylor can sweep and maybe BYU helps Baylor out a little bit, Baylor can move up to the 4 spot, and that would pivot a rematch for Baylor against Kansas. Kansas swept Baylor earlier this season for the first time in program history up there in Lawrence. So you'd like some revenge on them maybe later here, coming next week. But it's that time of the year, Jerry. It's really do or die time. Baylor softball, it's postseason, right? It's about to be here.
Yeah.
And kind of a win or go home situation after this weekend.
Yeah, obviously that isn't the case this weekend, but yeah, you go into next week when the Big 12 tournament starts in Oklahoma City. That is, I mean, you still have postseason play ahead of you, but at that tournament, you lose and you go home. So I think I don't know that they're locked in, but they're pretty much set to play Kansas in the Big 12 tournament. But again, they can help, their, postseason resume with a sweep here and getting to 30 and all that. I don't know that it really matters whether you're the 4th or 5th seed. If they do wind up tied with Kansas, you're going to play them, so it doesn't matter. And Justin, I think back to that series, and they certainly could have won a couple of those games. So I do think they would like another shot at Kansas. Now, you'd like to be at full strength. You'd like to be fully healthy, but that's not the case. Late in the year, that's rarely the case, really, for any team. But Baylor softball certainly has struggled with injuries in the last how many ever years, and doing it again this year. But again, they've survived those. I mean, when you think about all the things that they've gone through, and you're sitting here with a chance to finish 4th, which I believe that might have been where they were picked to begin the year. But in a year where the league is very strong, and you have a chance to finish 4th and move up the standings, and as I said earlier, help your postseason chance. I know it seems like a long shot for them to host, but they're 18th in RPI. That puts them right in the running. Like, you could still, I mean, if you sweep Houston, and then if you win a game or 2 up in Oklahoma City, I think you got to be at least in the equation. And you've done that by, doing what you've done down the stretch here, giving yourself a shot.
It's almost a repeat of what happened last season. They were right on the outside of the bubble in that 17-18. And last year we saw there was a little bit, maybe a wide margin there between, teams 15 and 18 and what that looked like. But we'll see how it all shakes out. And so Baylor, hey, you go make a run. You win the Big 12 championship in Oklahoma City. Yeah, at that point, you're going to be hosting. So go do that, right? Go do that. But yeah, in terms of softball, exciting games coming up this week. We have a 6:30 on Friday tonight, 6:30 Saturday, and then 1 o'clock on Sunday. As for Baylor men's golf, they are heading to another postseason, the 25th postseason appearance in the last 26 seasons. The number 6 seed, Jerry, selected to the Chapel Hill Regional, going to North Carolina.
Yeah, and I know the top 4 teams there are really good, but I think this is a situation, much like the women, they're kind of right there on the line. Top 5 teams advance to the NCAA championships. And Justin, I think if they play like they did at the Big 12 tournament, where you had 4 guys playing really well, they just need that 5th guy. It's kind of like it's maybe a little bit different, but I think of it in terms of cross country. Which was my sport growing up. You had 5 runners scoring, and you really needed that 5th runner. In golf, only 4 score, but you really need that 5th player because, that way you do give yourself a cushion if you have one player that's a little bit off that day. That 5th player comes up and posts a good score for you. So if they can get that, at the tournament in Chapel Hill, I do think they have a really good shot to move on. They're sitting right there at the 6th seed, top 5 advance. This is kind of when Mike McGraw's teams shine, particularly getting through the regional to the championship. I believe this is right. Baylor's been like 7 times overall and 5 times with McGraw to the NCAA championship. So it's kind of what he does. If you go back to his days at Oklahoma State, he was there pretty much every year. So this is what Mike McGraw does, and I think they do have a really good shot, to get to the NCAA championships.
And this will begin play here May 13th to the 15th. So got a little bit of time. It's a 3-day tournament. As Jerry said, the top 5 advance. The other 8 in this 13-team field, they go fishing. They're done. And so we'll see how it all shakes out. Johnny Kiefer, one of the key components, key players for this team. In his 5th year, his final opportunity to make another run in postseason play. And so I know for him, this means a lot, right? This is it for him.
Yeah, coming off an all tournament, at the Big 12 tournament. And I believe that was his first time. I mean, as good a golfer as he's been, I think that was his first all Big 12 tournament. So he's coming in off of a good performance there. But they had several guys, really step up and play well. So again, I think this is a team that maybe, kind of hitting its stride here late in the year. I think they're ready for postseason play. I know maybe the coaches wanted to go to Austin just because it's closer. But I think the Chapel Hill Regional is a good place for them to be to be able to get out of that tournament. So, yeah, again, just go finish top 5. You always want to win a tournament, but particularly this time of year, the big thing is get in that top 5. If you can just get in the top 5, it's kind of the, in basketball, it's survive and advance. If you finish in the top 5, you survive and advance, and that's what they want to do. They still want to be playing at the end of May and playing in that NCAA championship.
And Jerry, I always think with these, particularly on the golf side, it's the first day. Yeah, you got to finish, right? Every day matters just as much, but it's that first day because you can get to that final day, day 3, and there's teams that are out of it. And as we well know, golf is a major mental game. And so when you see that you're 10, 15 shots back on day 3, you're toast in a lot of cases. And so, yeah, some teams can make some runs, but mentally with 18 to 22-year-olds, sometimes they may be out of it. So that first day is so pivotal. Get off to a good start. Keep yourself in the race.
And in a 3-day tournament like this, I really do feel like every day is important. Because, you've got the first day and you don't want to play your way out of it. You want to be right in the thick of it. Second day, in pro golf and the PGA Tour, the Saturday is moving day. So the second day of a 54-hole tournament, that is kind of your moving day. So you have a chance to, if you haven't played your best the first day, that second round is the time where you really need to make a move and get up there with the top teams. And then obviously the final day, I mean, that's huge. But yeah, put yourself in position, play 2 good rounds, maybe kind of take some teams out of it. And then maybe you're playing against 1 or 2 teams, for like the 4th or 5th spot. So that's the key. Like you said, you don't want to play your way out of it on the first day, but you always got a chance with 36 holes still left. That's a lot of time, but you don't want to bury yourself on the first day.
Yeah, and we've seen a lot of golf, right? We've been on both sides of it. I've been at tournaments where we have buried ourselves on the first day, and you're down in a pit, and good luck getting out of it. And it's really, really difficult just with that mental side of it. So get off to a good start and keep yourself in it. And Baylor men's golf should have a great opportunity to advance to its 8th NCAA championship in program history. Over on the women's side, they get underway on Monday. We've talked about them before, but they're out in Vegas for the Las Vegas Regional. That's a Monday through Wednesday. They're the 7 seed there. So right around where the men are, and they'll have some work to do, just like the men, to get into the NCAA championship. And of course, later today, it gets underway, the NCAA championship for tennis. Both of our teams here early in the day, 10 o'clock, San Diego, the number 18 team in America, taking on your 40th ranked Baylor men's tennis team. But at this point, you can really shove the rankings to the side. It's San Diego versus Baylor, and this should be a really, really good match, Jerry. I'm looking forward to watching this one.
Yeah, I don't think the rankings tell the story in this. I mean, when you look at Baylor's schedule and who they've played and who their losses are to, and even if you look inside that, like I look at that TCU match in the Big 12 tournament and you win the doubles point, you're right there in singles and, two or three of the matches. So you were pretty close with a top 5 team. Yes, you lost 4-1, but again, you had taken some singles to 3 sets. You had won the doubles. So this is a team that could be kind of peaking at the right time. Their deal against top teams, they just haven't been able to finish. They've been in matches with those teams. San Diego, on the flip side, yeah, they're 22-3, but their schedule just hadn't been close to what Baylor's has been. Obviously they're a great team. They're there for a reason. But this is a team I think Baylor, can match up with pretty well. And playing at A&M, playing at College Station just down the road. These are conditions that Baylor will definitely be used to. And certainly the courts. They've been on those courts quite a bit. So, I think it favors Baylor in that regard. Playing closer to home, playing in conditions that you're used to. San Diego coming from the West Coast. They've got to try to get used to the courts and all of that. So I think that first round certainly favors Baylor in those terms. So, and, they still got to go out and win it. But this is a team that is very capable of a first round win. And then you get an A&M team that's number 15 seed. So, again, not completely out of the realm that you could knock off both of those teams and get to Oklahoma City for the NCAA championships.
We got weather in the area as well, so we'll see if weather is a problem here in a couple hours. It's a situation. This whole weekend's got weather in Texas. We had some really hard rain on a Wednesday night, Thursday morning. Hardly could sleep. Felt like I was sitting next to Jerry Hill snoring, but unfortunately, my dogs were up all night. But yeah, this weekend could be some weather in the area. As for the women, hopefully no weather issues out there in California. Usually a little drier this time of the year than Texas. They take on LSU. LSU comes in as the 31st ranked team. Baylor women's tennis, 35. That's a 12 o'clock game, 12 o'clock match, should say, Central Time. So a good opportunity there. This is a matchup that could be favorable. It won't be easy, just like the men's. But Baylor looking for its first win on the women's side against LSU.
Yeah, and I think you said it's been a long, long time since I played them, so I don't even know that that's really a fact. Wasn't it since like 90? So yeah, I don't know how big of a factor that is. Obviously Baylor, again, Baylor's been tested. Not that LSU hadn't been. I mean, they're in the SEC, they're getting tested too. But Baylor's played a lot of great teams, including Oklahoma State, that's the number 1 team, including Texas as a top 10 team and a seeded team in the tournament. So they've played a lot of good folks, and so they should be tested and ready. And I like the way that they're going into the tournament. They got to win at the Big 12 tournament. I thought that was big just to get a win. So now you go into the NCAA tournament, and Joey's teams usually, even when they're not the best teams, they can get through that first round. So I like their chances against LSU. I don't think this is a team that they should be scared of or anything by any means. So yeah, if you can get past them, obviously you get the number 2 seed overall in Stanford on their courts. But man, what a great opportunity. One of the meccas of tennis. So I like this. What a great opportunity for the players to play at a place like that. Joey's been there plenty of times, but this is a great place to play. And I do like that first round matchup against LSU. Obviously, you got to go out and play and win it, but it's something that this team is very capable of doing.
That'll do it for today's edition of Inside Baylor Sports, a Sport and Story production. Thanks for listening. For Jerry Hill, I'm Justin Hoff. Have a great Friday, and Sickle Bears.
Sickle Bears.